Hey everybody, I'm going to attempt to give a narrated tutorial on how to draw this picture. I say attempt because it's actually really hard to describe what I'm doing in a timely manner, and unfortunately a lot of this video is going to be sped up and there's going to be a lot of time-lapse sections, but it has to be done because otherwise this video would take 2 to 3 hours and no one's going to watch a video that's that long on YouTube. It's just a problem a lot of artists have. That's why you see so much time-lapse stuff and you never get a full tutorial like you would if you took a class or something. It just takes too long to explain, and it also takes too long to upload a video. If you have a video that's 2 or 3 hours, it takes like a full day to upload. And when videos are that long and you're trying to upload, it seems to be that there's always problems, like your computer will crash, or it's just really complicated to get a video that long. So I'm going to attempt to explain what I'm doing, and hopefully you can either keep up or at least you just find it entertaining. So the very first thing I do is I look through pictures. If I want to pose that, I want like an original pose, I will look at pictures of models or even just regular girls in certain positions that I like. Then it's extremely important to get a simple skeleton down. I use just a circle for the head, circles for the joints like shoulders, elbows, hands, knees, and feet, and just basically draw a stick figure. That's how all artists do it. If you don't do that, you're not going to get the proportions right. It's an extremely important step. So after that, I just add a couple guidelines to kind of help me show where like the basic facial features are going to go. And if it's a female character, I'll draw circles for where the breast goes, because if you don't do that now and you have an arm in the way or something, you're going to just trip yourself up later. So basically after I get the skeleton down, I just go over it, and I mentioned I looked at a few different pictures for pose references, and I found a couple different women sitting kind of sideways, and I thought that would be a good pose because the very original emo girl picture that I did years ago was sitting kind of sideways, and she was like sitting the opposite way, but I thought that would be interesting to have her in a similar pose but almost the opposite. So after you get your skeleton phase down, you just basically go over it, and if you need to keep referring to your whatever pictures you're using as a reference, go ahead and just keep looking back, and I just go over it, and basically I come up with a sort of a bald, naked person, and that's how I do all my drawings. They're just completely bald and completely naked, because it's extremely important that you get the body and head and all the proportions correct before you even think about adding clothes or hair. You can do this exact same pose and end up changing the hair or changing the clothes, and it'll still look right. Let's say the wind's blowing and her hair is all over the place and her clothes are all wrinkled and flying around. It'll still look right as long as you have the anatomy down right. Now I'm going to be going over, I kind of added her face while I was drawing, and I'm not really going to get into the details of the face. I sort of made up these very specific eyes just for this character, and I might explain them in another video, but I'm trying to just get the basics down. So I'm gonna just give you some tips here and there. So basically when you're doing the hair, you want to do loose quick strokes, especially like where the ends of the hair are. You want it to come to a point, and it's always easier if you move your wrist and make a quick stroke and try to make little, almost like really sharp triangles at the ends wherever little pieces of hair stick off or whatever. And um, emo girls have really big hair. Like, it's not, it's going to be way outside of your guidelines because their hairstyles are usually really big. They like frizz their hair and tease it and crimp it and all that stuff to make it bigger and puffier and all that stuff. So if you were doing someone with flatter hair, it's going to be much closer to where your little skeleton first quick drawing or whatever was. So I'm just adding like little details, like her bow. I put like a little skull in the middle instead of just like a simple circle, and just added a couple lines here and there to make it look like it's like has a couple wrinkles in it. And on her ear, I made it like a little rabbit head that's like, I don't know, I just put little X's instead of eyes. I don't know, just looking at pictures of emo girls in the past, they always had like little trinkets and weird things that are just slightly different, like a, you know, like a skull or a dead rabbit or something. I put a little choker on her with it's got like a little heart-shaped lock thing on it. I don't know, I just made that up because I've seen a lot of them with some sort of choker, but I just put this little heart thing on my original drawing, so I tried to keep with the same, like have her wearing the same stuff. And then basically once you have this naked body, you just keep slowly adding what her clothes would be like, and you can actually easily change the clothes. If you know, you can look through fashion magazines and pick out clothes and just try to match those with this body shape. And these are kind of clothes I just made up based on multiple clothings that I've seen. I'm not really a fashion expert. I don't really like, you know, clothing, so I just kind of made stuff up based on what I saw, like kind of mixed things together. It's probably not that accurate, but I'm not too worried about it. So one thing I wanted to mention when doing clothes like this, you want to make sure there's wrinkles in certain spots where they would be in real life, but you never want to go overboard. You want to keep the wrinkles to a minimum. If something's extremely wrinkled, you want to add more wrinkles, but you almost always in drawings want to keep the wrinkles slightly less than how much they are in real life, like how many wrinkles or how dark the shadows are. If you go overboard with it, it'll look wrong and fake every time. It's kind of like when you're drawing someone with their mouth open and you can see their teeth. You don't want to draw the lines in between each tooth because it'll just look wrong, even though technically it might be right. It'll look wrong, and it's hard to describe why, but it's just how the human eye sees it. You don't see every individual tooth, and you don't see every individual wrinkle, so just keep that in mind. I'm kind of just going all over on this drawing. It's really hard for me to draw when there's a camera and some lights in my way. I'm trying to stay out of the way and reaching kind of farther than normal, and I'm trying to keep my head from not bumping the camera and stuff. So I'm kind of just jumping all over where I can reach. I normally, if I was drawing something and not recording it, I would be drawing in like a much different order, and I would have my face a lot closer to the picture. It's just something funny I've kind of always wanted to mention in all my videos, that it's a real pain in the butt to actually record yourself drawing, because there's just so much stuff in the way, and you're trying to like let people see what you're doing, but at the same time you can't really do what you normally do, so you're almost having to teach yourself to redraw a different way, you know, trying to stretch your arm out farther than normal and not being able to move your wrist as fast as normal and stuff like that. So right now I'm just working on her skirt. I think it's called pleated. I'm not really sure. I'm not, like I said earlier, I'm not into fashion or anything, but these type of skirts, they're made up almost of, I would describe it as a really long triangular shape, and they all come into a point. And I've seen other people try to explain this on other drawing videos, and they probably do a better job of saying what exactly the skirts, how they fold and what they're called and all that stuff. I just kind of made it up as I went along, just making sure that you can see a slight variation instead of just having like a really straight line. Right now I'm onto her hand. I'm just gonna be adding clothing and sort of accessories. It doesn't really have to follow any thing. Like if you're following along or trying to draw, feel free to pause and add your own. Like, no one wears the same stuff, and it would be cool to see like a similar character wearing totally different stuff. I'm adding like bracelets, and like there's a couple different parts where there's just like a little random string tied around her hand or arm and leg and stuff like that. And my original drawing I did years ago had stuff like that, so I'm trying to keep her clothes the same for this picture. I might do other tutorials that are completely different. So I'm just putting on, like, drawing gloves on her right now, and they're gonna have lines. They're gonna be like black and white striped. Same with her stockings, which is what I'm about to add right now. You want, when you're doing stockings, you want to make sure it's a curved line and try to keep all your lines having a slight curve. It'll give the illusion that it's a little bit more in 3D because it wraps around her thigh, and her thigh is supposed to be round. And so every line you make, whether it's curving towards her or away from her, like right here where the knee is, the lines will start curving the opposite way. As you go down the leg, they'll curve a little bit more and more, just because it's getting smaller, but it's still round, if that makes any sense. And on this one stocking, I thought it would be funny, like a long time ago, if one of them was ripped, but she still wore it anyways, and there's sort of like this loose string that it's been coming undone, but she just wraps it around her leg and has it tied in a little knot and still wears it. Those are gonna be black and white. I'm planning on doing a colored version if you're interested. Hopefully I can upload it soon after this one. I'm actually gonna do kind of a fun test sort of with different colors. I'm going to color her in Copic markers in one color and then color her on Photoshop in totally different colors and see how it turns out. And I'll put it all on a video. That'll probably be all time lapsed, just because it'll take so long to record it and everything. But yeah, I just put a bracelet on one ankle, and so I'm still just gonna keep adding little details, and I'm actually gonna ink it real quick and put that all in time lapse. I'm using a Micron Pigma pen. I'm using like the smallest size they make, just so I can get all the details, and it's all gonna be, the line width is all gonna be the same. So hopefully this image is you like this drawing, and if you attempt it, let me know and I'll check it out. Sorry if I couldn't make this more of a step-by-step, but like I said, it would take 2 to 3 hours, and maybe I will do that someday. So if you have requests or want me to go into more detail on like specific parts, like a character's face, let me know in the comments and I'll start working on videos like that. Otherwise, I'll just keep to my same old time-lapse style. Thanks for watching.